All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to the finale of the Sigma GT Challenge, brought to you by Six Sigma Sim Racing. Tonight, we got the ProAm lobby taking on an hour at Nürburgring GP. Joining me there in my ear is Nolander Gaming. Let's go ahead and fix this sound a bit so we can hear him.
Here in the rain, at the finale at the GP, Nürburgring GP, circuit tonight. This is going to be very exciting right here. 1 hour. Will we have rain all the time? Who knows? But I can tell you that rain is coming down, y'all.
Yeah, absolutely. We've already got some rain showing up here for the qualifier. Rosario taking it in stride, though, showing up in the intermediates. Got the traction control on. Very wise move. Definitely something you want to consider when you're driving around on the wet track here. You don't want to let the tire spin get away from you. Start facing the wrong way on the track. Behind.
Indeed, traction control in the rain, highly recommended.
Yeah, for sure. Now you can hear the rain starting to fall a little bit harder now as they start to make their way through their outlap. We got Method just behind Rosario there representing the Renault. And Tinsley showing up here in the Mercedes as usual, putting on a great show at the last race at Catalunya, making his way up to third in the standings now with ProAm. We'll be excited to see what he pulls off here tonight, see if he can improve his position or hold on to P3 here.
Yeah, absolutely. Tinsley definitely had a fantastic race last week. Good to chat with the guy, and yeah, it was a great race for him for sure. He put on a good show for us. But I'll tell you what, this Mercedes is going to be an absolute handful. I would look for the Porsches and possibly the RS01 to do very well here in the rain at Nürburgring GP. It's such a technical track.
Agreed. And just a little bit ago, see Jenny giving it a little wiggle coming out of the corner there in the Lexus. That car also going to be, unfortunately for myself as well, a handful in the rain. She's going to have to wrangle control of that one if she wants to hold on to some decent position and pace tonight. And once again, ooh, there's a little bit of a slide coming out of the corner there. Does manage to keep the car holding on to the right direction. She's going to slow down, let the traffic pass here, it looks like, and set herself up for a hot lap. I'm checking in with the rest of the field here. We got Sweaty Palms in his FT concept from Toyota there. Bottle Fed showing up in the Mercedes. And then we got VP Merch rounding out our field in the Mazda concept as well. A bunch of bees under the hood. Love the sound of that car.
Yeah, indeed. And I'll tell you what, that Toyota and likely the Mazda as well are going to be another couple of cars that are going to be incredibly difficult to manage that throttle input. So as you can see, Sweaty Palms right there, just getting a little bit loose.
Yeah, you see a little bit of contact between Tinsley and Method as well as they come out of the first corner there. Tinsley managing to get around Method. He's going to be able to get a little bit of clean air there and start setting himself some decent hot laps. We have 10 minutes in qualifying, but that outlap eating up quite a bit of time. We're already almost 3.5 minutes down in our qualifying.
Yeah, for sure. Not a whole lot of time for these racers to get it right and get dialed in for sure. Almost a hot lap situation for these guys. They will get one more lap in for sure, and likely two, but it's going to be really close.
Yeah, just looking at outlaps is really not going to give us too much of an indicator of what kind of times these guys are going to be putting down, because they were all taking kind of slow and easy, getting a feel for the track on their outlap there.
For sure.
Still have Rosario making his way around the track. Tinsley starting to make up some time, though, closing the gap on Rosario in the qualifying here. Interesting to see what these guys' two times are, as Tinsley's now getting even closer to the bumper of Rosario now, coming down the back straightaway through the kink.
Yeah, he looks as though he's managing that throttle control very well in that Mercedes here tonight.
And looking like all drivers opting for the intermediates. Tinsley, though, a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the corner, though, holds onto the car. Let's go ahead, let's check in with Rosario here. He's going to be the first one to cross the line for the first hot lap here, see what kind of time he's going to set. Rosario crossing 2:22, but Tinsley knocking it down to 2:20.7.
Wow, that was a really good lap, as you said. Tinsley really been on the money when it comes to his racing lately, and just showing it right there. 2 seconds faster than Rosario and 3 seconds faster than P3 right now. Nosfox, no, Sweaty Palms moves up into P3 with a 2:23.9.
Oh, gets knocked.
4 seconds faster from Tinsley thus far.
Yeah, but then Sweaty Palms getting knocked down into P4, but because Merge coming through with a 2:23.3, really managing that car well on the wet tire there. He is opted for a little bit more traction in the wet there, opting for the heavy wet as opposed to the intermediate. I wonder if that had something to do with that lap time there.
Yeah, and Rosario now nearly a full second over his last time as well. Really pushing it hard as he's got Tinsley, but he gets it all wrong right there. Caught a little bit of that curb, and as he said, just like ice, that Porsche goes round and round.
Rosario, though, being the proper gentleman, is going to go ahead and let the traffic go through here. You got Nosfox coming around the corner now. Also have Sweaty coming around. He's going to try to go ahead and get out in front of Sweaty. Looks like he's going to be able to make it cleanly. And no worries for Sweaty being able to get around him there.
Sweaty seemingly have managed to get a hold of that Toyota, just ripping around the track right now. He's pulling past his time by 1.8 seconds so far.
Absolutely. Flying through it.
Yeah, absolutely cruising along. He's got that Toyota dialed in here at the rain at the Nürburgring GP for the finale with the A3T, y'all.
Let's go ahead. Let's check in with the rest of the grid here, see how they're doing. Bottlefed coming into 5th with a 2:25 flat. Nosfox 2:25.8, not too far off the pace behind him there. We got Method dropping down P7th at 2:27 that he set earlier, and then Jenny with a 2:37. Getting it wrong along the way somewhere, but going 4 seconds faster now. I'm gonna stay on board with Jenny here. She gets ready to come up through the chicane now.
There goes Method coming in with a 2:18. Tinsley coming across with a 2:16.4 now. Nosfox jumping up into P2 with a 2:16.8.
Jenny's
Sweaty Palms puts it.
Now let's see what Jenny's going to do coming out of the Coca-Cola curve. Jenny going up into the pole position, 2:14.2. Absolutely throwing a wrench into this grid right now. Tinsley getting knocked down by over 2 seconds down into second. Sweaty getting dropped down to P3, but that 2:16 still a banger time. But Nosfox knocking at the door right behind him with that 2:16.8.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, those Flying Fox boys back at the Shack are absolutely happy with that. 2 seconds fast.
Method making his way up into 6th. He was able to pull off 2:18.2 now, as you said, and then Bottlefed at 2:19.4. But Bottlefed now going 0.6 of a second on purple right now, starting to take that pole position away from Jenny. Rosario still not able to set a decent lap here just yet. We're 8.5 minutes through this qualifier. We only have 90 seconds left. He's got to get a move on the pace if he wants to set himself a decent time here.
For sure. Not a lot of time left. Sweaty Palms again. He's 3 seconds faster on that purple lap right now. Absolutely flying around this track.
Jenny's still a little bit too far off from a sector marker to see what kind of time she's running here. We got Tinsley, though, getting ready to come through the chicane up to the Coca-Cola curve. We're going to stay on board with him on my stream here, see what kind of time he's going to set here. Coming through the final corner now. Really feathering that throttle as he comes out of the curve. Tinsley, a 2:11.5. Now giving it back to Jenny with a 2-second gap onto her now. So Jenny 2 seconds either side of her. She got Sweaty down in 3rd, and Nosfox now in 4th. And Method making his way up to 5th.
Right, Sweaty gonna take pole. Yes, he does.
No, Rosario beats him by 0.02 of a second.
Wow. fantastic. Rosario coming in with a 209.872. Did manage to get that flying lap in there as track conditions are drying out just a little bit more friendly for those intermediate tires versus the wet tires.
Yeah, for sure. And it looks like everyone's going to get one more lap in here now. We are past the 10-minute mark, so qualifying's officially over. So this is going to be everybody's last lap. We got Tinsley leading the group out in front. He's down in P3 right now. He's got Sweaty Palms and Rosario in front of him. Nosfox still sitting in P4. Jenny getting bumped down to P5. But now going a half a second purple, because every time I seem to check in with somebody, they're going on a fast lap here. We got Bottlefed down in 6th, coming a little bit of a traffic problem for Jenny right now. Method's down in 7th. And we've got Merch down in 8th right now after running a banger lap for himself earlier. He's going to need to find a little bit of pace on this last lap if he wants to make his way up into the midfield.
Rosario right now is 1.6 seconds in the purple.
Yeah, as this track starts drying out throughout the qualifying, they're going to start finding a little bit more grip. And I think those intermediates, once they start getting the track wetness down a little bit, they're starting to afford just a little bit better grip on them as well than the full wets were when it was raining a lot heavier at the beginning of the qualifying. So now 2 seconds, absolutely smashing that fast lap time right now.
Yeah, he is. He's flipping along really good. Found his pace on these intermediates. As I said earlier, the track drying out a little bit. It's really going to help the intermediate tire users versus the ones that are on wet.
It's got to be said, though, that Sweaty Palms has stayed out in front the entire time, not really becoming too much of a traffic issue for Rosario. So I'm curious if he's also going on a banger lap for himself as well. He is going to be the first one to cross the line here. It's a Sweaty going pole. Oh, not able to hold on to it. Loses it by almost 2/10.
But
Oh, these
coming in, with P3 thus far, nobody's taken that away from him.
Nope, Nosfox is in P3. Method getting bumped down to P4, but making his way up through the grid throughout the qualifying. Got Tinsley getting bumped down to P5. Jenny in P6.
That's it for it right there. That'll be your results. Rosario taking P1. Sweaty Palms will start in P2. Nosfox will begin in P3. Method in 4. Tinsley in 5. Jenny in 6. And Bottlefed in 7. And VPR's Merge coming in will round out your field in P8 tonight. What a great qualifying run from these Pro-Am division racers, huh, Thunder?
Oh, it was an absolute banger of a qualifier. If that's any indication of what the race is going to be like, I'm pretty sure our voices are going to be gone within about 20 minutes, good sir. But on that note, I'm going to take a quick break, get these guys ready for the race. We're going to be right back on my end, Nolander.
Absolutely sounds fantastic. I will do the exact same.
Man, what a great qualifier. Guys, like I said, I'm going to take a break real quick, get these guys ready, and then we're going to get this race underway. Stay tuned.
Let's go.
All right, we all know the drill. 5 lights on. When the lights go out, pedals go down. You got Rosario sitting on pole. Sweaty Palms also sitting on the front row with him right now. If anybody moves off here, they're going to get a little bit of a penalty because we got false starts on. So here we go. We got the 5 lights on.
Get to racing, y'all.
Here we go. Rosario getting himself off to a great start. Sweaty Palms also getting a great start as well. He's managing to stay along the inside there. A little bit of a drag race. We head up to the first corner now. Method, though, not far behind, staying on P3. He's going to take a little bit of a look along the outside there. Sweaty. They both come through the Castrol S right now. Rosario's just sitting out in P1. Sweaty in P2. Method P3. Jenny getting herself a great start there. Making her way up into P4 right now. And starting to have a little bit of a battle with Method already. We got Tinsley down P5 still. Having a look along the inside there. Jenny is already coming around the other corner here now. Bottlefed sitting down in P6 right now. Nosfox driving in P7. We got Merch still rounding out our grid in P8. All the drivers now. Ooh, I got the one.
Fantastic start from this Pro-Am division. Each of these racers getting off to a great start. A little bit of side-by-side battling from Jenny and Method there. Jenny falls back into P5. Tinsley will move up into P4. We got Nosfox here in P6. Bottlefed Mustang just behind there. And Merged to round out your field here.
Yeah, we got Rosario managing to get a little bit of a distance right now on Sweaty. It's only a half second though right now. Sweaty Palms got himself about a second ahead of Method. So you really start to see the rain fall right now. These drivers really backing off the accelerators just a little bit. We got Method still sitting down in P3. He's starting to come under pressure from Tinsley. Tinsley still holding on to P4, but he's also coming under pressure right now from Jenny. There's still some really close racing despite the hurricane happening right now in Germany.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you, Thunder, that rain is coming down rather sidewise. You can just see the spray coming off from these race cars. Very wet track right now.
Yeah, for sure. You can't see it at home, but the rain gauge is absolutely full right now. This track being completely soaked right now. You can really see Rosario starting to lose a little bit of time. Starting to only go down to about still that half second though. Rosario getting a little bit better exit though out of the chicane now, managing to get just over a second. Sweaty though still holding on to a comfortable P2 right now. Method still under just a little bit of pressure from Tinsley. Tinsley down in P4, but is starting to increase the gap to Jenny right now. Jenny getting a little bit sideways there coming out of the final corner now. She's going to have side by side with Nosfox as they cross the start finish line. Nosfox going to go ahead and concede on the corner right there. He's going to slide in behind Jenny as they come into the Castrol S.
Getting the move done as Jenny gets a little sideways coming out. That's going to slow her down a little bit. Nosfox take over to the inside.
Jenny, though, able to hold on. Nosfox getting a little drifty boy there. He's coming out of the corner. Jenny getting a little bit of breathing room there, but Nosfox coming right back on her tail.
Bottom fed to the inside of Nosfox. Managed to make that move stick. Nosfox not ready to give it up, though.
No, bottle fed, though, getting the car just a little bit sideways coming out of his corner now. A great battle back here in the mid-pack.
For sure. Tinsley's looking at Method. He's hungry. He's going after it. He's sitting in P4 right now. He wants to take that P3 off Method. Method all over the back of Sweaty Palms as well. Just 1 second separate those two. But Tinsley all over the back of Method. Tinsley potentially making a move around the outside here in the rain. Tinsley holding on to it. He's got the lead. He's got the run.
Man,
can he get it done? He does.
Tinsley with a great move along the outside there.
That was some racing right here in the rain, y'all. Let me tell you what, brilliant move by Tinsley. Rosario, meanwhile, losing traction to Sweaty Palms. Sweaty Palms just a half second down now. And Tinsley only half second off the back of Sweaty Palms. So Tinsley absolutely on the move. Now Tinsley takes a look to the inside of Sweaty. He's going to get the job done there as well. 2 great passes by Tinsley. He is on the move.
Now Sweaty Palms coming under pressure from Method. Method have a little bit of a look along the inside right there. A little bit more door rub, and there's they come through the corner. Method not able to make the move stick. Sweaty's able to hold on to that P3 for right now. Method not giving it up, though, as they come through the final chicane here.
Sweaty got a great run out of that last corner previous to the chicane there. He gets a good exit coming out as well, but here comes Method again, closing that gap up.
Ooh, Tinsley also getting the car just a little bit sideways there coming out of the final corner. It is going to cost him just a little bit of time there. You can start seeing that delta drop just a little bit between himself and Sweaty right now. Let's go ahead and let's check in with... Go ahead. Gonna check in with Jenny here. Jenny managing to fall back just a little bit from Method right now, coming under a lot of pressure from Bottle Fed still. As we come through the first corner, Jenny getting a little bit sideways there. It's going to leave the door open on the inside for Bottle Fed. He's going to try to have a look at it. He's going to be able to make it stick this time. He's not going to be able to make it stick here. And now Bottle Fed coming under pressure from NozFox. A great bumper-to-bumper action between these three right now. NozFox trying to get a little bit of a cut on the corner right there. Have a little bit of a look on the inside coming out. He's not going to be able to have enough of a run, I don't think, coming into the corner. It's going to have Bottle Fed along the inside there. But NozFox braking late is able to make that move stick along the outside going into the corner there. He makes his way up into P6. NozFox getting dropped down into P7 now. That gives Jenny a little bit of breathing room, though. It gives her time to focus and attack on Method. She's dropping the delta between her now and Method down to less than 2 seconds.
Yeah, meanwhile, Merch sitting here in P8, but got each of these drivers right still in his view. Hasn't gone anywhere. Doing a fantastic job at just holding on to these drivers out in front. Maybe just saving himself a little bit of fuel, just hanging on.
Yeah, it's a long race. We're only 6 minutes down in the race. We still have quite a bit of racing to go here. Anything can happen, as you said. Plus, we also do have the rain happening right now. It is going to be raining for quite a while. Let's go ahead. Let's check in with the front of the field here. We got Rosario still sitting out in front. Tinsley starting to close the gap a little bit, less than a second separating both of them now. Sweaty Palm still sitting down in P3. Under pressure, but not as much from Method, though. Method with a comfortable gap between himself and Jenny right now. So it looks like drivers starting to settle in a little bit, find their pace, rhythm, and comfort on the wet track here. As you can see in that shot there, really starting to spread out a little bit.
Likes on the streams, appreciate you fellas. We're in for a fantastic race. We got Rosario sitting in P1 still, Tinsley in P2, Sweaty Palms there in P3, followed by Method and Jenny. We got NozFox in P6. Great shot at all the cars coming down the straight there. Bottle Fed in P7 and VBR's Merch in P8. Everybody clipping along fantastically here on lap 4. All relatively close to one another.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the pack is staying pretty close together here throughout the race. Haven't really seen anybody had any major offs or anything, and as I say that, I'm going to go ahead and knock on wood just to try to prevent commentators' curse as much as I can. But Rosario's sitting out in front right now. He's going purple with 2.5 right now. He's going to try to take that fast lap away from NozFox early on in the race here. Tinsley still knocking at the door behind, 0.3 of a second. He's down in second place. Sweaty Palm's not far behind, but 1.5 separating in between himself and Tinsley. And now Method trying to close the distance between himself and Sweaty, get himself up onto the podium here tonight. And Jenny finding herself a little bit of breathing room on either side of her now, sitting down in 5th. NozFox in 6th, also with breathing room on either side. And then we got Bottle Fed in 7th, and like you said, Merch rounding out the grid in 8th right now. So looks like the rain might have stopped a little bit there. Noli, what do you say?
It has. It looks like the track is drying out a little bit. Each one of these racers being very happy for that, I'm sure. These intermediate tires will really start getting a little bit more grip now. We do have Merch back here on a different compound there. Y'all can't see that at home, but we can. But Rosario right now really pulling the purples and doing well out in front in this Porsche. But Tinsley, the man right now in the Mercedes, really proving me wrong. This Mercedes is handling really well out there for him tonight.
Yeah, he is starting to lose a little bit of distance though between himself and Sweaty right now. Sweaty now less than less than a second behind. You really start to see the gap starting to close between P3, 4, and 5. Jenny's starting to make her way up as well, so it looks like all the drivers started to find a little bit more grip on the tire here as the rain has subsided.
We are. Rosario's obviously figured that out. Jenny now as well coming in with the fastest lap at the 2:11.276 as this race tire dries out. So these drivers are starting to find some more time. The battle is going to really pursue here soon. Tinsley goes a little bit wide there, gets out there into that wet stuff, but manages to hold on to that Mercedes. Sweaty Palms Meanwhile, in P3, just right there, closes up the gap even more, down to just 9/10 of a second now. But Method and Jenny back here about to have a battle for P4. Jenny is all over Method now, really finding the grip underneath that race car.
Yeah, she is. She's sliding into the slipstream now behind Method. She's really having a good look here at P4. Method is also going purple now in his lap. He's going to try to take that fast lap away from Jenny. Jenny's setting that 2:11.2. An absolute flyer of a lap here.
Yeah, and looking at her, the past sector where it shows us, she's 1.4 seconds ahead of her last fastest lap.
Yeah, so definitely going to be interesting to see the strategies here. Most drivers looking like they're just about a quarter of a tank down on their fuel right now. As we just about cross over into 11 minutes here shortly within this race. And Bottlefed now. Bottlefed going a second and a half purple. But really interesting to see who's going to be taking the fast lap on this next crossing here.
Yeah, Jenny's up 2 seconds now on her fastest lap, but Method staying ahead of her, so he must really be on a flyer as well. Saving P4, protecting it well for the time being.
Yeah, and just checking in with Rosario now, going 3 seconds purple himself. Let's check in with Merch here, see what he's doing on his lap time. So Merch managing to go 4/10 of a second faster. Not going to be good enough for fast lap time. But Merch is sitting back there churning out laps, waiting to see what the rest of the field is going to do strategy-wise. And I am too, frankly. I'm wondering what kind of tire compound these guys are going to want to jump onto here in a little bit.
Yeah, indeed. There goes Rosario.
Rosario, Tinsley to Sweaty. Any other fast lap changes here?
Yeah, and now Sweaty's with the 207.576. Doesn't look like anybody is going to be able to top that so far. So both the cars that I thought were going to have a real issue here in the rain, proving to be really fast cars on the racetrack in the form of that Mercedes and the Toyota.
Yeah, and credit to these drivers too, managing to wrangle these machines around on basically ice right now. The track is starting to dry out a little bit, but it is by no means easy to drive right now. Good for them for all managing to stay in the pack together.
All sorts wrong there. Jenny and Nosfox just barely making it around with no damages. They both just barely touched.
Oof.
So Method going back into P6 in the RS01, one of the cars that I figured would be the better handling of the cars. But as these drivers start to gain grip, they start to push it a little more, and Method just pushed it a little too hard there.
Hey, you got to be careful with these wet tracks too. If you go off of the dry line and you manage to pick up just a little bit of the wet stuff, it is going to completely ruin your line through a corner. You're not quick enough to adapt. You're going to end up having a little bit of a date with Barry there.
And that's exactly what we've seen there. Method just going a little bit wide, catching a little bit more of that wetter portion of the racetrack. As you can see, the racing line really drying out. But if you get outside of it, boy, howdy, it gets really slick, really quick all over again.
Boy, it does. And now Method, unfortunately, now coming under threat from Bottlefed. 7/10 of a second separating that delta, dropping even more through the corners. Bottlefed gets himself a little bit of better exit out of there. They come through the back straightaway now, getting ready to come through the kink.
Yeah, Rosario a second ahead of that fastest lap now. He's really finding grip underneath that Porsche.
Let's go ahead, let's check in with Rosario on my stream here. He's getting ready to cross over start finish line. Moving over into the pit side here. He's going to go at 2:06.4. So he's going to hold on to it for now as everyone gets across the finish line. And Method's going into the pits. Method going into the pits, but the rain is back.
It's coming down with a vengeance again all of a sudden. Here comes the rain in GT7, y'all. And I tell you, it can throw a wrench into a plan at any given point in time. Tinsley figured it out real quick. That track getting a little bit wetter right there. You almost lost it, but manages to hold on to that race car. Sweaty Palm's doing a fantastic job, as well as Jenny now moved up into P4, and Nosfox in P5 also goes a little wide there, getting that car just a little bit sideways, but does a fantastic job. Hold on to it and hold on to that P5.
Yeah, he does. We've got Bottlefed now still down here in 6th. He's got himself an 8-second gap over Merch. Merch making his way up into P7. You start to see the rain fall harder and harder now. Method going into the pits early. Method crossing that pit line, picking himself up a 3-second penalty, unfortunately, and going onto the soft racing tire. The Method taking a chance here, anticipating the rain to stop a little bit earlier than what's planned. I wonder if that strategy is going to pay off for him.
Well, it does look as though the racetrack is starting to dry back down. That rain has ceased a little bit again here at the Nürburgring GP circuit. Here in Germany's being kind of friendly now all of a sudden again. The weather shifting back and forth.
Yeah, you can see that dry line start to disappear a little bit there. Rosario getting off of it. See the track wetness absolutely skyrocket when he hits the lake side of the track, basically. Holds onto the car, though. You did see a wiggle a little bit as he went through it. And now Tinsley, a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the chicane there. And Sweaty Palm's down in P3. He's managed to hold on to his Toyota very well here.
Jenny's gaining time on Sweaty Palms, currently sitting in P3, but Jenny's really finding that time still, and Nosfox right there as well, just 0.7 of a second off the back of Jenny, currently in P5.
Yeah, Nosfox really starting to find the pace there now. He's got less than a second off of him and Jenny. He's really starting to put the pressure on her now. She was in a pretty comfortable gap right there earlier, about 2 seconds on either side of her. Now she's starting to lose that a little bit, but now it's starting to increase as the rain comes back there. It looks like Nosfox having a little bit of trouble getting some grip out of the exit of the corner there.
Yeah, he went a little bit wide there, got into a little bit more wet stuff, got off that racing line. It really slowed him down a pinch, but now it looks as though he's starting to gain that time back up, and Indeed he is. You can see those tenths just dropping off. He's just about shortly to come into the slipstream, which will help him a little bit here as well.
Yeah, very true here.
Thunder Runner, I'll tell you, man, this rain really probably throwing a wrench in some of these guys' strategies right now.
Yeah, the little rain spurts they cannot be very helpful for the strategy right now. As soon as you start thinking of maybe wanting to make a tire change as the track starts drying out, here comes just a little torrential downpour briefly, which just completely ruins the track again. So, and Method, though, checking in with him, looks like he got it wrong there. He into the walls, have to back it off of the corner there. Doesn't pick up any damage from it, it looks like, but it looks like the racing soft tire, not the right choice to make right now.
Just getting a good look at that at the replay, but just seeing the final results of it. Unfortunate there. He manages to get the car back on track really quickly, though, and he'll keep on keeping on.
Yeah, he's going to kill him.
3.3 second lead here on the very wet conditions at Nürburgring GP, getting their... They just go back and forth from weather to dryer to weather to dryer, and man, it's been a roller coaster ride here.
Yeah, it truly has been. Rosario, though, like you said, finding a little bit of breathing room now between himself and Tinsley. Tinsley down in P2. He's got a little bit of breathing room between himself and Sweaty now. Sweaty still holding on to that P3. Jenny still with that 1 second gap, though, to Nosfox. Nosfox not able to find any extra grip out of the corners here to try to mount an attack on P4 right now. Nosfox is going to have to settle for staying in P5 with a healthy gap between himself and Bottlefed. Bottlefed leading ahead of Merch right now, and Method in P8 rounding out the rest of our grid. About a half a tank of fuel gone for all these drivers, Noli. We're only 18 minutes in.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, right now, fuel at this point in the race, definitely not their main concern. It is this racetrack, as it has been since the start, 9 laps into now. It's a pretty wet conditions. The track hinting that it's going to possibly dry out. Tinsley now pulling fastest lap, but just by 0.02 of a second. So Tinsley perhaps finding a little bit more pace here. Is ground on.
He did, but I just checked in with Rosario right before you said that. Rosario going 0.6 of a second purple over his fastest lap time now, so possibly getting ready to dip into the 2:05s for a lap time here. As both these drivers come onto the back straightaway through the kink here, up to the final chicane. You got Sweaty Palm still holding on to P3 and Jenny in P4 right now.
Yeah, Knox Fox, they're managing to find some time on her, just down 9/10 of a second now. Jenny making a little bit of that up during braking, though. Under braking, she did fantastic and gaining 3/10 of a second back.
Yeah, she absolutely took that chicane beautifully there, is able to get ahead of Nosfox very well. Now Tinsley diving into the pits. It'll be interesting to see what kind of tire Tinsley's going to put on the car here. So that's going to give Jenny an opportunity to move up on the podium for right now. She's going to be at P3, and Nosfox moves up into P4. Let's see if Bottlefed's going to get an undercut here as he comes out of the Coca-Cola curve, the final corner. And Tinsley's still sitting in the pits. So Bottlefed's going to make his way up into P5 here, it looks like. And then Merch also coming out of the corner here.
Rosario's lead opening up to 7 seconds now over Sweaty Palms, currently in P2, but Jenny in P3, just 1.6 seconds behind Sweaty, and Nosfox also right there, still just 1.3 seconds behind Jenny. Nosfox also pulling his fastest lap on track thus far. So the rain conditions starting to dry out just a little bit, potentially. We don't know.
Yeah, looking on board with Tinsley here coming out of the pits. He came out on the soft tire. He did get that first corner a little bit wrong, getting the car spin those rear tires a little bit, not finding any grip. He was able to hold on to P6 though. He was coming under pressure from Merch on possible undercut. Merch not able to make it stick though, so Tinsley also taking a gamble that the track's going to stay dry here for the rest of the race. We'll just have to see what Kaz and the weather have to say about that here as we get ready to cross over into 22 minutes here shortly. Still have quite a ways to go here throughout the rest of this race. Like I said, we got Merch down in 7th, Method down in P8 right now, getting a couple corners wrong here and falling off the back of the pack. Did go into the pits early for the soft tire, so that could be to his benefit here shortly as we start to see this track dry out even more as these guys start to plow through the rest of their laps.
The one potential bonus that I can see in being on the soft tires right now is because of these wet conditions, these soft tires are not taking any damage at all. And now Method actually pulling purples on those softs. So potentially a really great move there by Method.
Yeah, for sure. That could come into his advantage here shortly. You do start to see the track drying out more and more as these drivers start to go through their laps. It would help if I wasn't muted on the PlayStation right now so Nolander could hear me. Also, hi Rexy.
Second lead, make that a 1.6 second lead over Jenny. Jenny gets a great exit out of that final corner, potentially making up the time in the braking as we've seen her do previously. The Lexus proving to be very good under braking, and at least she is in that car.
Yeah, for sure.
Still there.
And Nosfox still sitting in P4 right now. He does have about that 1.5 second gap. But now Jenny going purple by about 1/10 of a second. She's starting to find a little bit more confidence and grip in that Lexus there. She starts to throw it around the rest of the track here. Staying within most of the pack here. Unfortunately, looks like these drivers are getting ready to come up to a back marker here shortly. And now Jenny closing that distance between herself and Sweaty right now, less than 2 seconds separating both of those drivers. Though Rosario is starting to pull away a little bit. He's got a 7-second gap on the rest of the field right now. He starts to increase that more and more. He is able to dip into the 205s. It gets that corner a little wrong there as we stay on board with him. Finds a little bit of the grass.
Tinsley back here in P6 also finds a little bit of grass, but he was pulling purples by 0.6 of a second as well. But that was just previous to Rosario coming around and setting that new fastest lap. Meanwhile, Bottlefed getting it all wrong there. We find him sitting spun out on the edge of the track here. Oh boy, hard hit into the wall, causing all sorts of damage to the left side.
Oh. Yeah, that left side of that car completely wrecked right now. It's going to take a little bit of time for him to drive that one off there. It's going to give Merch an opportunity to really start closing that delta now as he gets ready to come in the same corner there. 4.5 seconds and dropping now, dipping into the 3s. The Bottlefed, though, shaking off that damage from the car. We do run a light damage model here on Gran Turismo, so they don't have to pit for the damage, but it does affect them for some time. You can really see that dry line start to appear on the track there. These intermediate tires are really going to start letting go for a lot of these guys here. They're not going to be able to find the same grip that they were when Had a little bit of rain on the track. And now Tinsley taking the fast lap with a 2:03.2. An absolute flyer.
Yeah, so these soft tires are coming in handy right now. So track conditions, as you stated, starting to dry out really well here, but there is that potential to run a little bit too fast and get outside of that dry line. And on those softs, you do that, it's going to be like ice all over again. But Tinsley coming in hot with a 2:03.296.
Yeah, an absolute banger of a lap time there. Still not able to close that distance to himself and Nosfox. Tinsley now going the fast lap again by 0.4 of a second as the track just gets drier and drier. Those soft tires really start coming into their own here.
Yeah, and the intermediate tires, those that have been on them, those tires are starting to fall off anyways, and then the track conditions start getting drier, so these guys are going to potentially be thinking about a pit stop here real shortly as this track starts to dry out.
Yeah, and just checking with Method here, see how he's doing. He just knocked a second off since I started that sentence. The soft tires really starting to benefit him right now, especially after having that off. He was up just about a minute behind off of the rest of off of Merch. Now he's just 31 seconds off of him now. That soft tire really starting to show what kind of grip it can find in track conditions right now. And the track just continues to get dry. Now Method going purple by about 0.2 of a second. So Rosario running a 206 flat, intermediate tire, not giving the grip that they want right now.
Yeah, no, for sure. As you're saying, Method literally dropped about 20 seconds off that time in just 2 laps from being on the soft compound of racing tire here tonight at the Nürburgring GP, pulling purples again.
And now
0.3 up.
Coming through the first corner now, we got Jenny now coming under, or putting a lot of pressure onto Sweaty now. As he come through the second corner here, just a second separating these drivers now. Both of them still running on the intermediate tire. Jenny getting just a little bit sideways there through the corner, manages to hold on to it though. Still holding on to that 1 second gap between them now, dropping to less than a second. So Jenny starting to put Sweaty under pressure here, wants to have a little bit of a battle for P2 here shortly. But as we were just saying, with the track drying out, more than likely these drivers are going to dive in for pit stops and put on some soft tires and top off their tanks for the rest of the race. But we are far from over.
Yeah, she's Jenny definitely having a great race right now. I like to say, just sitting just 1.1 seconds off the back of Sweaty Palms. But like you say, these drivers potentially very much so considering a pit stop here rather shortly, I would imagine.
Yeah, especially looking at Jenny's tires, those intermediates really starting to fall off now. And the same can be said for most of the drivers that are still running on their original compounds. Bottle Fed, especially on the rear, is looking pretty poor. And Merch's wet tires are going to start letting go a lot faster than the intermediates are. He's going to need to go into the pits here a lot sooner than he's probably anticipating, so he can start finding some grip. You're not really seeing too much wetness on the track there through the gauge on the left side of our screen. Unfortunately, those at home can't see it due to the banner. But there's a lot more dry track than wet track now.
There is. Method proving that too, because he's sitting in P8, but he's found another 9 seconds in that last lap on DPR's Merge. Now we have Jenny diving into the pits for some new tires and some fuel in that race car. The only one that has chose to do so. Nosfox continues on. Tinsley already on a new set of tires. This could work out well for him. He's going to jump up into Q4 here. Bottle Fed sometime back still, so he probably won't get the advantage of another position, but also probably going to be looking for a pit stop himself shortly.
Yeah, for sure. Same for Merch, as those wet tires really starting to let go here. Jenny might be able to get herself a little bit of an advantage here, getting onto the soft tires sooner than the others here. But Bottle Fed's coming out of last corner, and Jenny's coming out of the pits now. Doesn't look like Bottle Fed's going to be able to get the undercut on Jenny as Jenny comes out of the pits on the soft tire now. Gingerly going around the first corner there and still getting the car just a little bit sideways coming out there. She's going to have to get those tires warmed up a little bit before she starts really getting on it now.
Yeah, Tinsley, fastest man on the track right now with a 202.300.
Absolute flyer for track conditions right now, and I do anticipate fast lap time to drop even more as the race continues and the track dries out fully here. To Tinsley down in P4 and Ozfox in P3 still opting to forego the pits just yet, and Sweaty Palms, same can be said for him, but his fuel light is shouting at him and his tires are virtually gone as he gets ready to throw the car onto the back straightaway coming through the kink up to the final chicane. No doubt Sweaty Palm is going to go ahead and dive into the pits here. Let's see what Rosario's going to do. Rosario's coming around the final corner here. Not opting for the pit stop though. He's going to stay on the intermediate tire. Still has enough fuel to be able to do so, but those tires just about gone now.
They are, but I'll tell you, as track conditions dry out, potentially this is a good move from Rosario because those soft tires are only going to last one. He wants them to last one more stint, so the least amount of time for that stint, the better off he's going to be. I can understand the strategy, especially with Sweaty Palms and Nosfox now coming into pit. That's going to work out really well for Tinsley as he takes over P2, but Jenny looking really, really good right now. She's going to jump ahead into P3 here most definitely. And that's going to work out really well for her. Jenny having a fantastic race thus far. Bottlefed still going to have to pit. Merch most certainly going to have to pit. Method doing just fine for the time being now, just 11.8 seconds behind Merch. Bottlefed does come into the pits as well.
Jenny manages to hold on, not able to... Oh, what do we got going on back here? Nosfox getting it just a little bit wrong coming out of the corner. He's got Sweaty Palms just behind, taking up another 3-second penalty. Coming out of the pit lanes just a little bit wrong, crossing the lines there. You got both these drivers bumper to bumper right now coming through the corner here. Unfortunately though, Sweaty going to have to serve that 3-second penalty here later on the lap. Going to render basically any battle here just about useless right now, so you should just slot into the slipstream, try to save a little bit of fuel.
Yeah, Jenny absolutely screaming across his track right now. She's 0.3 of a second into the purples right now and gaining time rather quickly on Tinsley, who had that bit of an undercut onto the sauce. But Jenny coming out on the fresh sauce, really pushing and flying. Still 0.3 of a second into the purple right now.
Yeah, but Tinsley now going 0.6 of a second into the purple right now as he's getting ready to finish his lap here. He's come out of the back straightaway up to the final chicane. I'm going to stay on board with Tinsley here as he goes through the chicane. We're going to see if he's going to go purple again.
Our leader has come into the pits now, actually. 20 seconds ahead of Tinsley, so this is going to be really, really close to see where he comes out at.
Ish. Looking like it's going to be a pretty easy undercut for Tinsley here as Rosario still in the pits and going purple. Tinsley dipping it into the 2-minute flat. The 2-minute 9:59. Sorry, 9:58.
Coming into the final corner now. We'll see what she's got to answer back with here. See if she holds and grabs that fastest lap on track.
So,
no, but better for best time by 5 seconds on an absolute flyer for her first lap on track on this soft compounder racing tires. And this lap will be even faster.
Oh, she's a 10th off of the fast lap time right now. Exactly. Jenny absolutely putting the hammer down in the Lexus right now. She's just 1.5 seconds behind Rosario. Not able to get the undercut on Rosario.
No, but comes out right behind him. And Rosario and Jenny being on these fresher tires, Tinsley's going to have to be real good and mindful of his tire wear right now.
Yeah, we've got Method making his way up into P6, get an undercut on Merch. Merch diving into the pits, get rid of those wet tires finally. Still has a little bit of time between himself and Bottlefed right now. You really see that soft tire starting to come into Method's advantage right now as he's really closing that gap, making his way up from the bottom of the grid now into P6.
Yeah, Merch finally coming in for a pit stop to get on a, most likely a soft set of tires. Indeed does come out on the soft. So now Merch just coming out of the pits just 13 seconds behind Bottle Fed Mustang, who has also got fresh tires on. So everybody now on the racetrack on the soft set of racing tires. But Tinsley absolutely flying, looking into possibly dipping into the 159 marks. He's cruising out here on this track in the Mercedes tonight.
He does, a 159.4. And it's no...
And it's Tinsley. He's got a 23-second lead. He will have to take another pit stop there, though. That fuel not going to get him around this track, I don't think, for 25 more minutes. What do you think, Thunder?
Oh, I'm looking at that now, and it's close. We've only got 25 minutes, like you said, a little bit over a quarter of it. It's about a third of a 10. It's going to be close. He's probably going to have to come in for fuel unless he starts fuel saving now, but that's going to drop the engine mat back, and he's going to lose all the time. We'll just have to wait and see on that one. I wouldn't really expect Tinsley to do much fuel saving. I bet he's going to try to increase the gap as much as he can to prevent Rosario from getting an undercut on him. But Rosario's still under pressure from Jenny now, less than a second separating both of these drivers. They come out of the first corner now, coming around the carousel. Rosario's still holding on to P2, but Jenny closing the gap even further now, only a half second separating them. And that delta is dropping as we speak. But Jenny picking up a 1 second penalty, crossing over Kaz's favorite line somewhere along the way. All that time made up, she's going to lose when she serves her penalty, unfortunately.
Yeah, most unfortunately. But, I mean, other than that, potentially, that is the very first any kind of a sign that Jenny's gotten anything wrong on this race. She's having a brilliant race and just needs to keep her head down and not let that 1 second penalty bother her. She's going to pick that time back up and just focus on the race ahead, not worry about what's going to happen.
Yeah, for sure. She's got a 6 second gap between herself and Nas Fox right now. Nas Fox is sitting comfortably in fourth with no pressure from any side of him right now. Jenny doesn't really have anything to worry about now. She gets ready to cross the penalty line here after this corner. Unfortunately, not going to be able to keep too much momentum on the back straightaway. It is going to give Nas Fox quite a bit of a time advantage here. We'll see that 6.5 second delta start dropping here soon. And there it goes.
It'll get down to 4, yeah, there.
Probably about 4.4 at the end of it.
Yeah, very, okay, Jenny picking it back up now, so not too bad. Still just sitting just 2.3, 2.2 seconds behind of Rosario, so...
Jenny really able to get that final chicane right every time she goes through. She's always able to pick up a little bit of time over whatever driver's behind her here. So that puts her back a little bit more comfort between herself and Nas Fox now. She can start focusing on that battle between herself and Rosario again, but Rosario picking up quite a bit of time now, 2.5 seconds separating him and Jenny.
Cut out on us there, buddy.
Am I back?
Yes, you are back.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Potential loose connection for you, it sounds like, my guy.
Yeah, probably.
25.2 seconds up the road now, so even if he does have to pit, it's gonna be really close. With 22 minutes remaining, he's sitting on just a quarter of a tank of fuel, just a hair above a quarter of a tank, and I really don't think that's gonna be enough for him. I think that I would burn these tires out with this really low fuel and just go as fast as I possibly could right now to gain potentially a 30-second advantage. Maybe that's asking a lot, but he might be able to do it the way he's running right now. He's absolutely flying with a 159.059 fastest lap. So Tinsley on the move.
Yeah, that fuel's not going to be able to last. It looks like he was able to get about 4 minutes since the last time we checked in. He's probably going to have about 12 minutes of fuel remaining here. But now 159.014, improving on his fast lap time just a little bit now.
Yeah, he's absolutely clipping along.
Yeah, looking like the move to the soft tire early was the strat here.
Oh, for sure, because it didn't take but just a couple of laps for the track to really get good and dry.
Yeah, at least dry enough to start picking up a lot of traction on that soft tire. You can really see those deltas drop. And And really just start to see everybody set fast lap times as that track was drying out more and more. Now Tinsley still going purple now, 0.2 of a second. To be expected though, as he's running on a fairly new tire and running on a light car with low fuel. This is kind of an optimal situation for a fast lap here.
Absolutely. I'll tell you right now, the story on the track, though, is Jenny in P3 now has gone from a 2.4 second deficit to Rosario now down to a 1.6 second. And she is absolutely fine as well. But Rosario as well, 0.2 up on that fastest lap. So everybody really finding some more pace here as this racetrack has dried out considerably on lap 19. 20 minutes left to go in this race.
And we still got Nosfox sitting down in P4, losing just a little bit of time between himself and Sweaty Palm, second and a half separating the drivers. We got Method going into the pits again. Looks like he's going to top off his fuel and get a fresh set of shoes for one more go here. Does have more than enough time between himself and Merch. Should be under no threat from an undercut here. As he's done with fuel already, he's going to jump out with just a little bit under 3/4 of a tank here. Merch just now getting onto the front straightaway, so more than enough time for Method. He's going to have enough breathing room here to get those tires warmed up, start trying to battle against Bottle Fed here. And checking in with Tinsley now, fuel dropping considerably. You can see it though reflected in his lap times, going a 1:58.6 for the fast lap now. Not just dipping into the 58s, absolutely crushing through them right now. He's got Rosario still under pressure from Jenny, less than 2 seconds separating those drivers, and Jenny's starting to find a little bit of pace between herself and Nosfox as she gets through that chicane cleanly again now, over 6 seconds separating the drivers. And now Sweaty Palm starting to knock it through the backside of Nosfox now, 0.6 of a second and dropping as they come out of the final corner here. The Sweaty Palm's trying to get into the slipstream of Nosfox here. He's going to start having himself a little bit of a battle here as soon as we start seeing the sun start to poke its way through the clouds here at Nürburgring GP. Definitely a sign that I do think that the rain is gone, Noli.
Yeah, indeed. Sunshine on this track is exactly what these racers are wanting to see, as the track's holding on to just a pinch of moisture, not giving quite optimum traction for each of these racers. But Rosario now actually 4/10, nearly 5/10 of a second faster than his fastest lap, now holds it at a 1:58.393. So that each of these racers still finding more time as this race on.
Just sitting here with Sweaty Palms as you were saying that, he went 0.3 of a second purple, threatening to dip into the 57s, take that fast lap away from Rosario.
Rosario now sitting over 0.5 of a second purple as well, so he is well going to dip into the 157s potentially here.
Yeah, Tinsley still holding on that 25-second gap between himself and Rosario, not able to increase that gap much. He's going to go forego the pits on this one. He does still have a little bit of fuel remaining here. He's not going to be able to make it to the end of the race though. The longer he stays out, the more those tires are going to degrade. He's going to start losing some pace now. You can start already seeing that now, dipping under 25 seconds on that gap between himself and Rosario. Every little bit of time that he loses is a threat from an undercut when he has to go into the pits, and Rosario taking that P1 away easily.
Here comes Rosario. We'll see if he can better that fastest lap once again as he gets a great exit out of the final corner, and he does by 0.6 of a second. So well into the 157s goes Rosario. Rosario really finding some pace now and could very easily find himself in a P1 situation here really soon, as Tinsley is going to have to make another pit stop as his fuel light is really starting to light up at him. And potentially just one more lap remaining for him, and he will have no choice but to pit.
No, it's inevitable at this point. He's going to have to pit for fuel to finish out the race. And now 24.5 seconds. He did lose a half second now in this lap already. See, Rosario's tires much fresher than Tinsley's are right now. Tinsley running on a little bit lighter car, but doesn't do him any good when he doesn't have any traction to take care of that. Now Jenny's starting to close the door a little bit here as well. She's got breathing room on either side of her. The 5-second gap now dropping. Well, now back to a 5-second gap between herself and Rosario. So Jenny's going to have to get on the loud pedal a little bit more if she wants to close the gap, finish out this race, try to have a little bit of a battle for P2. Meanwhile, we got Nosfox down in P4. Sweaty Palm's not able to capitalize on any maneuvers and take P4 away from him, so he's going to have to sit down in P5 for right now. We got Bottle Fed Method and Merch rounding out the rest of our grid now. Those drivers are done for pit stops. Looks like Tinsley's going to be the only one forced to pit here, and there he goes. He's diving into the pits now. He's got a 24.5-second gap between himself and Rosario.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be enough. I think Jenny's going to find herself in a P2 position here already, and she just needs to hold on to what tires she has for the remainder of the 15 minutes of this race. Don't push too hard. Just be comfortable and happy with that P2, as Rosario is on the fresher set of tires. So
he is
gonna just potentially just chillax and come away with a beautiful P2 finish here today. Possibly.
So Jenny trying to get herself the undercut on Tinsley. Tinsley just now getting fuel in the car. Looks like Jenny is going to get the undercut here. Tinsley now getting on the loud pedal. He's going to come out of the pits, but not able to stay ahead of Jenny. Jenny gets the undercut, makes her way up into P2. She's got a 2.5-second gap between herself and Tinsley. Should be able to grow that a little bit as Tinsley's going a little bit slower through the corner there. But she is on a little bit more of a worn tire now, so she is not going to have as much traction as Tinsley's going to have throughout the rest of this race. We've got less than 15 minutes of racing left to go now. We've got Nosfox starting to catch up to the rest of the field as well, along with Sweaty Palms now.
Jenny making up to 3 seconds ahead of Tinsley now, but Tinsley's going to be pushing as he's got a brand new set of racing sauce on that car and plenty of fuel to really push the issue here. So watch out. I guarantee you, here comes Tinsley. He just made up 0.5 of a second right there on that one corner on Jenny.
You know, for sure, he's going to have to let those tires warm up a little bit, but once he does, I do think we're going to have ourselves in a little battle here for P2. Rosario's got a 6-second gap ahead of Jenny now. That delta is dropping just a little bit as well. As long as he keeps the rest of his race clean and easy here tonight, doesn't have to go too crazy with everything. He should finish P1 here. Less than 14 minutes to go of racing. Jenny in P2 still 2.8 ahead of Tinsley now. Tinsley not able to close the gap as much as he wants here, but still less than 3 seconds separating both of the drivers.
Yeah, and here comes the rest of the field as well. Nosfox just 1.5 seconds off of the back of Tinsley. Sweaty Palms just 1.1 second off the back of Nosfox. Bottle Fed here is sitting in P6 with plus 1 minute on there, and Method same position, as well as Merch to round out your field here. Meanwhile, Rosario sitting in a comfortable 6.6 second lead over Jenny. Jenny still holding on to that 3-second lead over Tinsley. Tinsley having a hard time catching her, even though she is on a more worn set of sauce. She's absolutely flying, having a brilliant race here today.
Yeah, Jenny's doing a bang-up job in the Lexus right now. Tinsley throwing it around the first corner, though, is able to drop a little bit of that delta, though, just about 0.3 of a second. Was coming under pressure from Nosfox, though, still only a 1.5 seconds separating both of those drivers right now. They come through the left-hander here, still same amount of delta separating them. Nosfox really want to try to have a little bit of a look at P3 right now. Is not able to close the gap as much as he wants, though. Does get a little bit of a better exit out of the corner there. But Tinsley now going purple by 0.02 of a second again.
Yeah, he's got those softs warmed up for him now, and you're going to really see him start to step on it.
And you see the delta drop.
And see how it goes for him. The delta, like you say, is really starting to drop between him and Jenny right now, down to just a 1.9 second lead for Jenny.
And 12 minutes of racing left. Tinsley's absolutely going to be able to get the run. Should have a little bit of a close battle here. So Jenny's going to have to start defending here real soon if she wants to hold on to that P2. But Tinsley's still sitting on the podium in P3 right now. He's ahead of Nosfox. Still sitting in P4. No change to the deltas between 3, 4, and 5 right now.
Yeah, these top 5 racers have been in it to win it all night long here in the ProAm division. Each one of them having a really, really good race, and still with 11 minutes left to go in this race, with each racer just 1 second gap between each one of them, aside from Jenny and Rosario. Rosario with an 8.3 second lead right now, sitting really pretty, and pulls fastest lap once again with a 157.191, so nearly dropping into the 156s is Rosario. and he's not slowing down anytime soon. Back a little hard on the power right there, just a little bit sideways there coming out of that turn.
Yeah, now that delta between Jenny and Tinsley now just a second separating them, so Rosario's probably going to be able to pull ahead a little bit more. Once Jenny has to start defending, it's going to slow down both of those drivers. We might even see Nosfox start getting into the fray here shortly as well. So got 10.5 minutes left of racing. And Tinsley, though, getting a little bit weird back there on the corner, did drop a little bit of delta, but was able to get a little bit of a better exit than Jenny out of the corner now, less than a second separating these two. So that battle's probably going to happen a little bit sooner than we thought here.
Oh, it's happening quickly, down to just a half a tenth now between the two drivers. So this battle for P2 potentially going to be beneficial to Rosario in P1, and also, like you said, Nosfox here in P2. As they begin the battle, will close up, and it could end up at the end of this race being a three-way battle potentially for P2.
Yeah, for sure right now, but Jenny's really doing a great job of defending and parking it on the apexes right now. Tinsley still not close enough to have a look at any open doors right now, but give it a little bit of time. We should see a little bit of side-by-side battle between both of these two as Tinsley wants to try to make his way up into P2. Try to get as many points as he can for the last race of the season here.
Yeah, the thing about Nosfox and Sweaty Palms, they're both did try to get a little bit of an undercut, so they're on a bit more worn of the soft tires. Those tires really going to start kind of giving away here really soon with 9 minutes left in this race.
Thanks, Rexy.
How much do they want to try to push to catch the person in front of them versus losing the position from the person behind them? Going to be interesting to see how that plays out. Meanwhile, Tinsley just 0.3 of a second behind Jenny now. Will he try to take a move into the inside here on turn 1?
I don't think 0.3 of a second is enough time on this corner, especially with how sharp that hairpin is. Looks like he's just going to go ahead and slot behind, keep the pressure on Jenny right now as they almost touch bumpers here coming through the left-hander.
Yeah, he's really close up on her now. Takes a look to the outside, but he's not going to get it done. Jenny does a fantastic job of defending through these corners here, looking absolutely beautiful. She's done all day, but here comes Tinsley, gets a really good run on the outside there, slotting back in for the time being.
Yeah, Jenny really parking it on all the apexes here. It looks like Tinsley's going to have another look on the outside again. He's going to try to make a little bit of a move on a cut there. So now we go side by side, but Tinsley thinking better of it now. He's still slotting in behind Jenny. Jenny doing a great job holding on to P2 right now.
Yeah,
they're both
potentially may have been a little bump there between the two, and Tinsley opting not to take the pass right there at that point in time. Give Jenny the spot back and come back and fight another corner.
Yeah, for sure there. Tinsley wanting to have a little bit of look along the outside as they were both heavy on the anchors into the hairpin, but he decided to think better of it there as well. He has a look to the outside here. Might be trying a little bit of a switchback here on this corner. Still not ahead enough to be able to make it happen.
Oh boy, this is a great battle for P2 here. Jenny doing a fantastic job right now defending, still finding a
Hey, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I do this all for you guys.
Holding Tinsley off. Tinsley going to take a look to the outside here potentially now.
But we know Jenny, though, can absolutely throw that Lexus through the chicane here. She does manage to defend a little bit, but Tinsley getting a great run out of the chicanes. We're going to go side by side through the Coca-Cola curve here to the final corner. Both of them holding the line well. Tinsley's able to make the move stick. He's going to make his way up into P2, taking the inside line through the final corner.
Those fresh tires really proving to be beneficial right now from Tinsley. Tinsley just managing to squeak through inside you there. Jenny doing a fantastic job of defending, but those a little bit more worn tires just let her slip to the outside a little bit more than she would have liked to. And Tinsley capitalizing, moving up into P2 now. Oh, goes a little bit wide there.
He does touch a little bit of the dirty stuff on the outside of the track. He holds on to it, though. He's still got a second gap between himself and Jenny. And Jenny really eating through those tires, trying to defend as much as she could. And now Jenny having to defend against Nosfox here shortly. They've only just got about a 1.5 second gap between both of them now.
Yeah, Nosfox laying it down right now, a 1/10 of a second up on the purple time, the fastest lap on the track by Tinsley with 157.148. So Tinsley absolutely cruising now with a 1.3 second gap over Jenny. Jenny really just needs to hold on to those tires and maintain that P3 with just 5 minutes remaining. This is going to be a great battle come down to the end, potentially between Nos Fox and Jenny for that P3. What do you think, my guy?
Oh, I think we are going to have a battle here between P3 and them right now, just because I'm sitting here thinking that early tire strat did pay off early on in the race, getting herself up in P2, but it's really starting to fall off now. See, those front tires almost halfway worn now. The softs are really going to start giving way here soon. But Jenny is starting to increase that delta between herself and Nos Fox right now. That 1 second gap turning into a 2 second gap.
Yeah, she got a great exit out of that corner and really let her open up that gap a little bit onto Nos Fox. Nos Fox, like you say, on a slightly fresher set of soft tires, but pushing as hard as he is to try to catch her, potentially going to wear those things out even more. Meanwhile, Nos Fox is gaining time, though, and putting a little bit of time on Sweaty Palms. So Sweaty Palms coming right back now, gets a great exit out of the final corner onto the start straight finish here.
Yeah, we got just less than 5 minutes of racing left as Sweaty Palms trying to find a little bit of pace and a little bit of traction there to pick up time on Nos Fox. Just not able to find it, as you were saying. Nos Fox trying to find a little bit of pace on Jenny, also losing it as well now. That 2 second gap looking more and more comfortable to her as time starts to dwindle down in the rest of this race here. 4.5 minutes left.
Yeah, Rosario sitting pretty right now in P1. Just lost nearly half a second to Tinsley, though, through that portion of the racetrack, but gains it back there. But Rosario having a fantastic race here today at the Nürburgring GP, as those portions really proven to be a difficult car to try to beat here at the Nurb.
Yeah, for sure. Looks like just about every car being a little bit difficult, especially at the beginning of the race with just how much rain there was. But now checking in with Jenny again now. Nos Fox finding that pace. 1.3 seconds separating him and Jenny right now. She got less than 4 minutes of racing to go. So it looks like that battle for P3 might recommence here shortly.
Yeah, it just might be on with 3 minutes and 30 seconds left to go in this race. Potentially, they're going to have this lap and one more for sure. Possibly two. No, it's going to be this lap and one more. I think it's all they're going to get. It's going to be really, really close as to whether or not they'll get another 2 laps in this race. But Nos Fox to a 1 second, 9/10 now, back off the back of Jenny. Here we go.
It looks like we're going to get 2 full laps here from everybody for the end of this race. 3 minutes left, running about 2-minute lap times now.
Yep. Another 2 laps. Here we go. Nos Fox now the second off the back of Jenny. Jenny got a great run out of that final corner. She always seems to do.
Yeah, that really always does give her just a little bit of breathing space when she comes out of that final chicane there. But Nos Fox now half second down, starting to fill up the mirrors on the Lexus there. Time starts to dwindle. 2.5 minutes left. These guys know that they only have a lap and a half to go. As Jenny getting it just a little bit sideways there, coming through that chicane, is able to hold on to the car. 0.4 of a second, still separating both the drivers now, as we're going to start having a battle. Absolutely heating up for P3 here, as both drivers heavy on the anchors coming into the left-hander now. Jenny's still ahead, 0.4 of a second, dropping down 0.3 of a second. As Nos Fox starts inching his way closer through the corner there. Jenny's soft tires really starting to show their wear right now. Still 0.3 of a second, now down to 0.2 of a second. Nos Fox having to back off a little bit coming through the kink there.
Here we go. Battle for P3 is on, y'all. Nos Fox all over the back of Jenny. Jenny getting a little bit of time there, though, actually. Nos getting it a little bit wrong, getting a little bit swirly from side to side. Jenny opened up 0.3 more, now nearly a second gap over Nos Fox. Jenny having a fantastic race here tonight, doing an incredible job both times she's been in the position to have to defend, and she really steps up her race here tonight.
Yeah, keeps it calm, cool, and collected throughout the entire race so far. Is not letting any pressure from behind get to her. She's just running her laps cleanly and letting them make the mistakes behind. Now opening that gap even more, 1.3 seconds, 1.5. As she gets through that chicane cleanly again.
absolutely fantastic job, but Nosfox actually got an incredible run out of there, gaining a little over 2.5 tenths of a second on her. Now up to 3 seconds. Nosfox getting a great run out of the final corner. We got one more lap to go, just 50 seconds remaining in this race. Can Jenny hold on to P3? She's worked so hard for all night. Has had an incredible race, and we're about to see right now 9/10 of a second separate the two.
Yeah, Tinsley setting a fast lap time, is able to dip into the 55s now with the 55.995 for his fast lap time. But not going to have enough time to be able to make up to have any kind of battle with Rosario. So as long as Rosario doesn't eat wall anywhere, he's going to be our winner tonight. Tinsley's going to come in second place. The battle's still heating up for third right now. 0.8 of a second separating Jenny and Nosfox. Both these drivers making a left-hander into the first hairpins here. Jenny's still holding on to that P3. He's able to get a little bit of a nice run out of the corner, though. Not able to increase too much, though. Still 0.8 of a second. And Nosfox, though, trying to slide into the slipstream, finding a little bit of it now. 0.7 of a second separating him as they come into the other hairpin now. 0.6 of a second, 0.5 of a second. Jenny now still holding on to P3, but barely. It's just a half second separating these drivers. This is where she got a run on Nosfox earlier on the last lap. Looks like Nosfox learned his lesson, was able to hold on to the car a little bit easier through that corner there. Just 0.6 of a second separating them now. They get ready to come up to the last hairpin, get ready to come onto the back straightaway now. Jenny still holding on to it, 0.7 of a second. Nosfox still sitting down in P4, not able to get it as clean as Jenny. Jenny increasing that delta just a little bit, but Nosfox gonna slide into the slipstream of Jenny as they throw it down the back straightaway through the kink up to the final chicane. Jenny's still sitting in P3. Is she gonna get a good run through the chicane again?
Here comes Rosario crossing the finish line. He will take P1. Well done to Rosario. Fantastic race from him. And here comes Tinsley gonna cross the line in P2. Meanwhile, Jenny, 0.8 of a second gap still over Rosario's coming around the final corner. She is going to manage the P3 here tonight. Fantastic job from her. Nosfox as well, getting a P4. Great job from them. Sweaty Palms coming in P5. Method will get P6. Bottle Fed will get P7. And Merch to round out your field will get P8. Fantastic race from this Pro-Am division here tonight for the finale of the A3T on this season.
Oh, it's fantastic racing from this lobby. It was just from everybody so far this season. It's just been absolutely great racing. It just got better and better every race. And I don't think we had too many moments of quiet throughout this one. It's just about a battle happening all around from everybody. So let's check our grid one more time here. We round out the Pro-Am season. First season for the Sigma GT Challenge. Got Rosario winning this race out in front. Tinsley taking the fast lap. That 55.9, the only one to dip into the 55s. He's going to come in P2 tonight. We got Jenny down in P3 with a fantastic race from her. Nosfox sitting in P4. Great racing from him, putting the pressure on Jenny. Got Sweaty Palms in P5. Method coming back to pick up P6 after having some unfortunate incidents at the beginning of the race. Got Bottle Fed down in P7 right now, and Merch rounding out our grid in P8. All drivers again finishing in the points tonight. With Tinsley coming in P2, we're going to have to see just where he's going to finish off the podium on the season. He's sitting in P3 right now. Great racing from everybody.
Absolutely, man. Pro-Am division really laying it down. Each of them actually having a really solid race considering the circumstances. The track getting starting out pretty wet, then got wetter, and then it dried up a little bit, and then it got wetter again, and then it dried up a little bit. And Method had the right idea, come out on the sauce, but he did it just a lap or two too early, and that track got wetter on him again. But overall, still having a great race. Each one of these racers here tonight in the Pro-Am division here with the A3T finale. That will do it for this division, the Pro-Am division. And coming up next, though, we got your pros, y'all.
And on that note, I am going to go ahead and dip on over into the pro lobby and start practicing a little bit. My stream, I'm going to take a quick little break. Nolander, fantastic job calling races with you this season, buddy. That was awesome.
Oh man, it has definitely been a pleasure, man. Always enjoyed getting you in the comments box with me, man. and definitely looking forward to next season. And I do want to wish you the best in life and on track here tonight for your race, good sir.
Oh, thank you, buddy. No Landers chat. You all have a wonderful evening. My chat. I'm going to take a quick couple-minute break right here, and I'll be right back. So everybody, don't go anywhere.
I tongue.